The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Society Insurance Risk Control webinar on preventing fire hazards for meat smoking operations. This webinar will run for approximately 30 to 40 minutes. We are recording this webinar, and shortly after today's presentation it will be formatted and posted on the Society Insurance Risk Control website for viewing. While attendees are muted during today's presentation, we do invite and welcome questions. Please type your questions into the control panel and send them to us at any time during the presentation, and we'll address them as we go. We'll also take time for questions at the end of this presentation. First, just a little bit about us. Society Insurance was founded in 1915 as a workers' compensation insurance company. We have built over 100 years of experience into specialized, comprehensive coverage. Today we are a regional mutual insurance carrier focusing on select business niches such as restaurants, bars, supermarkets, convenience stores, hotels and motels, and artisan contractors. Along with workers' compensation insurance, Society provides property, auto, and liability coverage, focusing on the small details that make a big difference. I am Brian Anderson, and I will be your presenter today. I obtained my bachelor's degree in occupational and environmental safety and health from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I am also a lieutenant on my local fire department, where I've been an active member for over 12 years. I hold many certifications in firefighting, fire prevention, fire inspection, and emergency management. I am also a firefighter and EMT instructor. My work territory for Society encompasses southeastern Wisconsin. This webinar will provide information on meat smoking ovens. This will include the fire hazards associated with them, as well as the safety controls for these cooking appliances. We will also discuss the proper installation, maintenance, and cleaning requirements for meat smoking ovens. Let's get started. The use of meat smokers began as a way to preserve meat for long periods of time. Now there are many reasons why restaurants, grocery stores, and meat product manufacturers may use meat smokers. Some of those include to tenderize tough cuts of meat, to create juicy, smoky, and flavorful meat, to maintain steady, constant temperatures when cooking meat, and to be competitive and increase sales. Because the use of meat smoking ovens is becoming increasingly common in a variety of industries, the related fire risks are also increasing. Reports suggest that the risk of fires associated with meat smoking ovens is not fully understood by restaurants, grocery stores, and meat producers. Let's take a look at the primary hazard. The number one fire hazard associated with meat smoking ovens is creosote. What is creosote? Creosote is made up of condensed volatile gases created by incomplete combustion of wood. Wood smoke mixes with water vapor from cooking and forms creosote. Creosote clings to the interior of the oven and the exhaust system ductwork. Creosote is highly combustible and is well known for the fire threat in the chimneys of wood-burning fireplaces. All it takes to ignite creosote in hoods, filters, and ductworks is a spark-burning ember, or flame, that raises the creosote temperature to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The role of grease as fuel in commercial kitchen fires is also well known. The combination of creosote and grease is easier to ignite than creosote alone, and it burns hotter than creosote does alone. These fires start quickly and spread very rapidly. Water vapor and creosote form creosote acid. This acid will corrode standard HVAC ventilation ductwork and vent pipes that are not NFPA 96, which is the standard for ventilation control and fire protection of commercial cooking operations, type number 1. The NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, creates standards and codes for usage and adoption by local governments. Type 1 ducts are constructed of and support by carbon steel not less than 0.06 inch in thickness, or stainless steel not less than 0.048 inch in thickness. They are liquid tight. They do not allow water vapor, grease vapor, or creosote vapor to leak outside the duct. Ductwork and vent piping that are not NFPA 96 Type 1 fail rapidly when they are exposed to heat and fire. This results in a rapid spread of fire and fire damage. Here's the first of 3 poll questions we plan to ask you today. What is the National Fire Protection Association? And there are your choices. Please take a moment to answer. The correct answer is letter C, which 78% of our viewers voted for. The correct answer is C. NFPA is a trade association that creates and maintains private copyrighted standards and codes for usage and adoption by local governments. The NFPA is a global nonprofit organization established in 1896 devoted to eliminating death, injury, property, and economic loss due to fire, electrical, and related hazards. NFPA is widely known as the Codes and Standards Organization. That's the backbone of what they do, and it will always be that. NFPA impacts restaurants, businesses with commercial cooking kitchens, and meat smoking operations by providing the minimum fire safety requirements for design, installation, operation, inspection, protection, and maintenance of cooking operations. This is a picture of a homemade meat smoking oven installed in a box truck. Not all of the hazards with meat smoking involve setting a building on fire. There can be hidden hazards to employees such as carbon monoxide. In this example, there's carbon monoxide hazard when the cargo door is closed. There's no fresh air ventilation. There's a carbon monoxide hazard if the employee enters the trailer before the door has been open long enough to ventilate the trailer, or if an employee works inside the trailer when the door is closed. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, tasteless, colorless gas produced when fuels such as wood, charcoal, and natural gas are burned. When you inhale carbon monoxide, it enters your bloodstream where it replaces and blocks the oxygen. If you inhale enough of it, the carbon monoxide will replace virtually all of the oxygen in your bloodstream, suffocating you. If you're exposed to high enough levels, it can make you pass out almost instantly, and if you are exposed while passed out, it can kill you before you even wake up or experience symptoms. Now we're going to talk about the safe installation of meat smoking ovens. Meat smoking ovens are solid fuel cooking appliances. Solid fuel cooking is any solid, organic, consumable fuel, such as briquettes, mesquite, hardwood, or charcoal. This also includes wood sawdust, wood chips, and wood logs used in electric and natural gas meat smoking ovens. Solid fuel cooking appliances must be installed to NFPA standards and the authority having jurisdiction requirements. Let's take a closer look. Here's the second poll question of the morning. Which of these is an example of an authority having jurisdiction? Please take a moment to answer. The correct answer is D, all of the above, which 62% of you voted for. The authority having jurisdiction is the organization responsible for enforcing the codes of your municipality and/or the underwriting requirements of your insurance carrier. At a municipal level, this includes municipal code enforcement departments, such as the fire marshal, building inspector, and electrical inspector. And for the insurance carrier, their safety or risk control department. We'll now talk about installation standards for meat smoking ovens. NFPA 96 is a standard from the National Fire Protection Association that provides fire safety requirements intended to reduce the potential fire hazard of public and private commercial cooking operations. NFPA 96, Chapter 14, Solid Fuel Cooking Operations, provides the safety requirements for solid fuel cooking. These include exhaust venting, location of the appliance, air movement, fire extinguishing equipment, procedures for inspection, cleaning, and maintenance of the appliance, as well as the minimum safety requirements for fuel storage and handling and ash removal. The manufacturer's installation instructions are sent with your new ovens or can be obtained from the manufacturer if you purchase a used oven. They must be followed for the safe operation of the oven and to prevent meat smoking fires. So, who should install your meat smoking oven? The installation standards are complex and very important, so you should never try to install a meat smoking oven on your own. You want to select a contractor who services and installs commercial cooking equipment per NFPA 96. They know the standard and will make sure the installation meets it, period. Where can you find these contractors? You can contact the manufacturer of your meat smoking oven and get a list of installation contractors in the area. Or you can complete an internet search for contractors who install commercial cooking equipment. We are now going to discuss exhaust hood and ductwork, or vent piping, for small and large meat smoking ovens. What is considered to be a small meat smoking oven? They are electric and natural gas meat smoking ovens that cook the meat and burn sawdust, wood pellets, or wood chips for flavoring. In small meat smoking ovens, the maximum quantity of solid fuel consumed for flavoring does not exceed 1 pound per hour in a gas or electric smoke generator rated at 100,000 BTU per hour of burner capacity. Solid fuel, like wood chips, will be immersed in water for a continuous period of at least 24 hours immediately prior to being placed in the cooking equipment. Solid fuel, like sawdust and wood pellets, will be damp or wet immediately prior to being placed in the cooking equipment. Small electric and natural gas meat smoking ovens can be placed under an NFPA 96 Type 1 exhaust hood and ductwork or other grease cooking appliances. NFPA 96 Type 1 exhaust hoods and ductwork is what you see in commercial kitchens that do grease cooking using griddles, broilers, and fryers. Or each meat smoking oven can have its own vent piping to the outdoors that meets NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements. Wall terminations of solid fuel exhaust systems are prohibited. No ductwork is permitted through the walls, only to the roof. Meat smoking ovens designed to be used outdoors cannot be placed indoors. This is the proper installation of a small meat smoking oven under a kitchen exhaust hood. This is a small electric meat smoking oven with small built-in wood chip smoke generator. It is located on the commercial cooking line with other cooking appliances under a commercial hood with ductwork that meets NFPA 96 Type 1. This is an improper installation of a small meat smoking oven. This indoor meat smoking oven is not under a commercial kitchen exhaust hood designed for grease cooking. Recall that a small meat smoking oven does not have to be under an exhaust hood if it meets NFPA 96 Type 1 ductwork or vent piping to the outdoors. However, there is no vent piping on this oven as pointed out by the red arrow. If there is a fire in the smoker, it could spread throughout the kitchen. This is another improper installation of a small indoor meat smoking oven. The owner used flexible residential dryer vent tubing instead of NFPA 96 Type 1 ductwork, and the vent tubing travels through an interior combustible wall. Even with Type 1 vent piping, wall terminations of solid fuel exhaust systems are prohibited. The vent piping has to exit through the roof to the outdoors. This drier vent tubing will fail quickly in a fire and allow fire to spread into the room and inside the wall. What is considered a large meat smoking oven? They are electric and natural gas meat smoking ovens that cook the meat and burn wood chips or wood logs for flavoring. The maximum quantity of solid fuel consumed exceeds 1 pound per hour in a gas or electric smoke generator rated at 100,000 BTU per hour of burner capacity for flavoring. Solid fuel like wood chips, wood logs will be immersed in water for a continuous period of at least 24 hours immediately prior to being placed in the cooking equipment. A single large meat smoking oven must have its own hood that is served by a ductwork system separate from all other exhaust systems that meets NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements, or have its own vent piping to the outdoors that meets NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements. Several meat smoking ovens can be located next to each other under a common hood with solid fuel cooking equipment that is served by a duct system separate from all other exhaust systems that meets NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements. Other requirements of cooking equipment cannot be under this hood, only meat smoking ovens. Wall terminations of solid fuel exhaust systems are prohibited. No ductwork through walls is permitted, only to the roof. A large meat smoker designed for outdoor use cannot be placed indoors, regardless of the vent piping used. This picture shows two large natural gas meat smoking ovens with wood log smoke generators. The two red arrows point out that each oven has its own exhaust hood and ductwork. The blue arrow shows where the two hoods meet together. The two exhaust systems meet the requirements of NFPA 96 Chapter 14. The owner could have chosen to purchase one large hood exhaust and placed both ovens under it as long as only meat smoking ovens were under the exhaust hood. No other types of commercial cooking equipment can be under the hood, like griddles, grills, or fryers, and the exhaust system is served by a duct system separate from all other exhaust systems that meet NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements. This is a picture of a large meat smoking oven with ductwork that does not meet NFPA 96 Chapter 14 requirements. The ductwork is HVAC rivet ductwork. This is the same HVAC ductwork you would find in your home, and it does not meet NFPA 96 Type 1 requirements. Type 1 ducts are considered of and supported by carbon steel not less than 0.06 inch in thickness, or stainless steel not less than 0.048 inch in thickness. Ductwork and vent piping that are not NFPA 96 Type 1 fail rapidly when they are exposed to heat and fire. This results in the rapid spread of fire and fire damage. This is a large indoor meat smoking oven that has a ductwork that is not NFPA 96 Type 1, and the ductwork has failed. It is leaking grease onto the building's HVAC duct behind it and below it. We've added an arrow to make it easier for you to see the failed duct. This ductwork is not liquid tight, and creosote is leaking outside of all the ductwork. Liquid tight ductwork does not allow water vapor, grease vapor, or creosote vapor to leak outside the ductwork. If there was a smoke or fire, the creosote that is leaked would cause the fire to burn hot and spread fast in the building. We are now going to discuss outdoor meat smoking ovens. Outdoor meat smoking ovens are designed only to be used outdoors versus indoor meat smoking ovens that can only be used indoors. It is dangerous to use outdoor meat smoking ovens indoors due to the carbon monoxide gas hazard and building fire hazard. It is dangerous to use an indoor meat smoking oven outdoors due to the electrocution hazard. This is a through-the-wall installation of a natural gas meat smoking oven with wood log smoke generator for flavoring. This appliance is designed and to be used outdoors. While the oven is outdoors, the oven doors open inside the restaurant kitchen. The meat is loaded and unloaded from the oven in the kitchen, and the logs are loaded in the smoke generator outside. The problem with this installation is the wood wall that the oven passes through. The oven was installed without a manufacturer's installation kit. Because it passes through a wood wall, if there is an oven fire, the combustible wall will start on fire. The insulation board in the kit is designed to help prevent an oven fire starting the combustible wall on fire. While installing a smoker through a wall made of combustible material, the manufacturer's installation kit must be used. The insulation board must be installed between the smoker and the combustible material. The installation kits may consist of 1-inch thick by 8-inch thick wide insulation board that is installed on the top and each side of the smoker. This provides the manufacturer's installation kit instructions must be followed by the appliance installer. The best practices are to have the oven pass through a non-combustible wall, like a masonry or steel wall, to help prevent the spread of fire if there is an oven fire. Another fire hazard is the oven's vent cap being partially under the wood roof overhang. If there is an oven fire, the fire will come through the vent cap and catch the wood overhang on fire. The exhaust ductwork and vent cap should extend above the overhang and roof in accordance with NFPA 96. Also, the staff is not cleaning this oven. There is creosote buildup inside the oven which increases the fire hazard. This is a homemade meat smoking oven. It is unsafe to tow over the road. If there is an accident, the propane tank and oven will fly off the trailer. The tank could explode and the oven could hit a vehicle. There could be property damage, vehicle damage, and personal injury. It is important to note that NFPA does not allow homemade meat smoking ovens. Transporting propane in this way violates the Department of Transportation rules relating to the transport of hazardous materials. The electric motor violates the electric code. A short circuit in the motor could energize the entire smoker since it is metal and not grounded, which would cause an electrocution if someone were to touch the smoker. This is also a light-duty utility trailer that is not designed for equipment installation. As recently as 2014, a Fond du Lac, Wisconsin man was killed while trying to relight a home-built propane fire smoker. And investigations indicated the flame on the gas burner blew out, and when the owner tried to relight it, a buildup of propane caused the smoker to explode. This is a picture of a factory-made outdoor meat smoking oven. It was designed to meet industry standards for this appliance. It is designed to operate safely outdoors. The hazards of fire, electrocution, and explosion are controlled. However, this meat smoking oven may be located too close to the wood fence. Unless designed by the manufacturer for location close to other combustible structures, it should be moved to a position at least 10 feet from the fence to reduce the risk of fire. Remember to always check and follow the manufacturer's installation instructions. What about protection of indoor and outdoor meat smoking ovens? There are requirements found in NFPA 96 Chapter 14. For small indoor and outdoor meat smoking ovens where the firebox does not exceed 5 cubic feet, you need a dedicated 1.6 gallon Class K or 2A rated water spray rated fire extinguisher within 20 feet of all meat smoking ovens. For large indoor and outdoor meat smoking ovens where the firebox exceeds 5 cubic feet, you will need a fixed water pipe and hose system with adjustable nozzle capable of reaching the firebox. We will now discuss the installation requirements for meat smokers. Meat smokers should be installed on approved surfaces. This includes the following: non-combustible floors, for example, Portland cement concrete or gypsum concrete. Floor assemblies that have been listed by Underwriters Laboratories or Factory Mutual for solid fuel appliance applications. A UL listed non-combustible floor assembly will typically include a fire-rated cement board, which has both load-bearing capacity as well as fire resistance. These assemblies will need to be installed by a qualified contractor following the UL or FM design standard. Floors with non-combustible surfaces, like non-combustible surface over a wood floor, where they have been approved for such use by the authority having jurisdiction. Combustible construction within 3 feet of the sides or 6 feet above the solid fuel cooking appliance must be protected in a manner acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction. This means meat smokers should be installed where there is at least 3 feet of space between the smoker and any combustible wall and 6 feet of space above the meat smoker and any combustible ceiling. Solid fuel cooking appliances that have been listed for zero clearance to combustibles on the bottom and sides and have an approved hearth extending 3 feet in all directions from the service doors are permitted to be used on combustible floors. Solid fuel cooking appliances that are specifically listed for less clearance to combustibles are permitted to be installed in accordance with the requirements of the listing and the manufacturer's instructions. Where can you find the clearance requirements for your smoker? Manufacturers list clearance requirements in the owner's manual and on a metal placard, often in the back of the unit. We will now talk about meat smoking conditioning, maintenance, and cleaning requirements. It is important to condition a meat smoking oven before using it for cooking. Conditioning is heating the unit up to a desired temperature to allow all oil and other products that were used during manufacturing to be burned off so that you get the best results right from the start. Some companies call this conditioning, others call it seasoning. Conditioning is done both from a health and fire safety perspective. You don't want those chemicals in your food, and sometimes these chemicals can cause a flare-up. By doing the conditioning in a controlled manner, the products are slowly burned off. Conditioning is not a buildup of grease. Check the directions for your meat smoking oven you purchase for the recommended method in your owner's manual. Daily, weekly, and monthly maintenance is required under the NFPA standard. While we will share some recommendations today common to most smokers, always follow the manufacturer's requirements for cleaning and maintenance. Daily maintenance becomes the owner's responsibility. Here are some examples of daily maintenance requirements. The meat smoker should be cleaned daily to remove any grease or carbon deposits. Poor cleaning habits can be both a food and fire hazard. Contrary to some beliefs, studies show that the grease and creosote accumulations do not enhance the flavors of the meat. Remove all product racks from the smoker and take to the sink area for cleaning. Use a commercial food service detergent and degreaser. Also wash the interior and exterior of the meat smoker. Remove ashes and coals from wood chip boxes or fire box after each cook cycle. We will discuss this step in more in depth in the next coming slides. Drain the grease after each cook cycle. Here are some examples of the weekly maintenance requirements. Refer to your owner's manual for additional items that may be required. Inspect the interior walls of the firebox and scrape off any solids or creosote buildup. Visually inspect and clean the flue. Clean filters and filtration devices. Visually inspect the product door and firebox gaskets. If damaged or leaking, contact a qualified contractor to perform necessary service. Now we have our third and final poll question of the morning. How often should the exhaust and ductwork covering the smoker be inspected by a qualified contractor? Please take a moment to answer. The answers that you gave were 10% for annual, 30% for semi-annual, 30% for quarterly, and 30% for monthly. The answer is monthly. D. The exhaust and ductwork covering the smoker should be inspected monthly by a qualified contractor. If the inspection reveals a buildup of creosote and/or grease, then the contractor should continue with the cleaning of the hood, ductwork, and piping. This is NFPA's requirements on hood and duct inspection for commercial cooking. This can be found under NFPA 96. The exhaust system for meat smokers is treated just the same as any other commercial cooking appliance. The entire exhaust system, including the vent piping, shall be inspected for grease buildup by a properly trained, qualified, and certified person acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction and in accordance with the table shown on this slide. If upon inspection the exhaust system is found to be contaminated with deposits from grease-laden vapors, the contaminated portions of the exhaust system shall be cleaned by a properly trained, qualified, and certified person. A properly trained, qualified, and certified person is often interpreted to be a commercial exhaust system cleaning contractor who has knowledge of and the ability to comply with NFPA 96 standard. You saw this picture previously in this presentation. The reason the doors and interior are difficult to see is because they are totally encased in grease. There is a large buildup of creosote and grease throughout the unit. This is a fire hazard that we have been talking about. In addition, the meat smoker passes through an exterior combustible wooden wall. This picture is a small electric meat smoking oven that is cleaned weekly by the staff. While this appears to be a drastic improvement from the last picture, there is still a large amount of creosote and grease buildup, especially on the racking. Remember, daily cleaning is required. Here's a picture of a meat smoker that is being properly cleaned daily. There's little to no creosote or grease buildup. We'll now discuss proper solid fuel storage. We know that meat smokers are solid fuel cooking appliances. Meat smoking often uses solid fuel like cut wood, wood chips, and sawdust. It is important to think about where you are going to store this fuel to prevent fire hazards. Solid fuel should not be stored within 3 feet of the meat smoker or any other cooking appliance. Only 1 day's supply of fuel should be kept in the same room as the meat smoker cooking appliance per NFPA 96 Chapter 14. Both of these rules are to reduce possible fire hazards due to sparks generated from burning solid fuels. What if you have more than 1 day's supply of fuel? It is acceptable to store that in the building if the sprinkler system allows it under NFPA 13 or against an exterior masonry wall or outside the building 10 feet away. Solid fuel piles require fire protection. There are 3 approved fire protection methods. They are a 1.6 gallon Class K or 2A rated water spray rated fire extinguisher within 20 feet of solid fuel piles like wood logs, wood chips, and sawdust, as long as the fuel pile does not exceed 5 cubic feet in volume. 5 cubic feet is similar to the size of a large residential chest freezer you might have in your own house. Sprinkler systems that meet the requirements of NFPA 13 or where acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction, a fixed water pipe system with a hose that has an adjustable nozzle that is capable of reaching all of the parts of an area with a water spray. We will now talk about ash removal and storage requirements. After each smoking cycle, remove the remaining wood, ash, and hot coals from the wood chip boxes. Use heat-resistant gloves while handling wood chip boxes, ash container, and ash removal tools. Place the ash, wood, and coals in a non-combustible corrosion-resistant pan and spray with water. A non-combustible corrosion-resistant pan should be kept just outside the smoker for this purpose. Once wood and ash have been sprayed, place them in a heavy metal container with a tight-fitting metal lid. Must be a minimum of 16 gauge metal with a capacity not to exceed 20 gallons. This container must be used for this one purpose and must be able to be handled easily by any employee assigned to the task and must pass easily through any passageway to the outside of the building. The container should always be covered when it is being moved through the premises. When any holes occur in the container from corrosion or damage, the container should be repaired or replaced immediately. The ashes should be carried to a separate heavy metal container or dumpster outside the premises that is used exclusively for the purpose of hot ash storage. Never empty ash or coals from the smoker into a common trash dumpster. Embers from the ash and coals could ignite materials resulting in a fire. If your business only has one dumpster, all of the above steps should take place, plus soaking the ashes for at least 24 hours before placing the cold ash into a dumpster. A small metal trash can may be used to remove ash from a meat smoking oven. The picture on the left shows a proper metal container with a lid that is stored outside. The picture on the right shows a thin serving pan that is not appropriate gauge metal, does not have a lid, and is being stored indoors. Lastly, let's talk about inspections required for the entire meat smoking unit. Inspection and servicing of the cooking equipment must be made at least annually by a properly trained and qualified contractor according to NFPA 96 11.7.2. Inspection requirements and checklists are located in your smoker's owner's manual. This is a picture of a Southern Pride owner's manual. Let's recap. The main hazards of solid fuel cooking are fire and creosote. Proper installation of solid fuel appliances can help reduce the fire hazard. Exhaust systems and ductwork covering the solid fuel cooking appliance require monthly inspection and cleaning if necessary. To reduce the amount of creosote in a solid fuel appliance, daily, weekly, and monthly cleaning is necessary. Ash needs to be placed in a metal container with a metal lid, sprayed with water, and stored outside. There are many other great resources available to ensure proper usage, maintenance, and cleaning of your meat smokers. Be sure to check out your owner's manual, manufacturer's installation guide, and NFPA 96. You can also contact your local authority having jurisdiction or any of our Society Insurance Risk Control representatives. We hope that you have enjoyed this presentation and have learned new information about meat smoking operations that will help your business. You can find more resources by visiting our website, societyinsurance.com. Now we would like to open this up and invite your participation. We covered a lot of material here, so what questions do you have? Type them in the control panel and send them to us now. Alright, our first question here. As a certified kitchen exhaust cleaner, I run into restaurants that do not allow inspection and cleaning on a monthly basis. What do you suggest? Well, you cannot force the restaurant to comply with the requirements. I would take an educative approach to the situation. You can let your customer know that there's a risk for fire. The fire increases dramatically every month their system is not inspected and cleaned as needed. Also, most insurance underwriting guidelines require you to maintain your system to the NFPA standard. The next question is, will a copy of this presentation be available at the conclusion of the webinar? A hard copy of the presentation will not be available. However, a YouTube video of the webinar will be available shortly on our societyinsurance.com website. Thank you for joining us. We'll be sending a follow-up survey via email shortly and truly appreciate your feedback. We do have additional webinars on the calendar and are proud to provide these flexible learning opportunities where you can listen in for relevant discussion and valuable tips without having to leave your business. Don't miss our upcoming webinars. On November 1st at 10 a.m., Disaster Recovery, Developing a Business Continuity Plan. On December 8th at 10 a.m., Active Shooter Preparedness. To register for our webinars, visit societyinsurance.com. Click on the Risk Management tab at the top of the page. Then click on Education and Training from either the drop-down menu or the gray box on the left-hand side of the page. The webinars are listed here, and you can click the links to register. We hope that you'll join us and share these opportunities with your friends. Thank you.